half of you, maybe a little bit more than half, have the first assignment in. If you don't panic. You have as long as you need. But I'm going to talk about the second one, and I'll try to give you some time to work on it today. But let me get in there. Come on, you can do it. Give me the login. Everything's taking a little time. Is it still a little too bright there? I don't know if I can. Yeah. Yeah, we can. I'm hoping to be done with this in about an hour, and then we can take a break, and then you can work on it. Yeah, I don't know what they can do about it, actually. They don't have that good a differential control over their air system. It is hot in here. I told Lisa to. Did you tell him again this morning? I told him last week. I know. The thing is, although it won't help us now, next quarter we should be back up in our other rooms. They did put some insulation between us and the break room, so I haven't heard them laughing as much lately. Yeah. All right, I think I'm in there. Let me get up the SQL Server. All right, so so you've got it in the folders, right? The you copied over the metro. All right, so I'll go through getting those again. How many more need them? The people that need them again. The people that are also in the 172 probably lost them because we had to recopy over the virtual machine. So I'll do that real quickly. It won't take too long. If I load up, things are moving slow. Usually I will try to be in here, now that I have access to the room, I will try to be in here like 5 or 10 minutes early to have all this stuff set up before we get going, so you don't have to watch me just do that. All right. So for the community assist, you want to go, let me zoom. I just want, there it is. So you want to go to, oh, come on. Took me a while for my mouse to come back. You want to go down to Internet Explorer. Okay. I'm going to have it zoom so you can see the. It actually, this is Edge. You can, if you have Chrome, you can use Chrome. You can download Chrome, not maybe this instant, but you can do it. Or Firefox. So we want to go first to, boy, this is slow. All right, so http github.com spconger. I'm going to curse here soon. All right, so in this, so spconger is my GitHub site. And if you go under database schema, we want the community assist SQL, not the 2017, although that is actually the one being used for the 172, so you can do it if you want. And we don't want, we can get Metrolog zip here, but we can also get it from, I have it in Canvas. Actually, maybe I will take it from here. So I'm going to do community assist SQL. Actually, this Metrolog zip might be a better Metrolog. I think it has the fares attached to the ridership. But I'll fix that with the script so you don't have to. All right, so once you've got into the code here, you want to go to raw. And then just copy it. Control A, Control C. Do a new query within the SQL Server Management Studio. Paste it, and then run it. So just execute it. I can do that. It'll work even if it's already there. You don't have to do it again, though. Okay, so it's redone it. A couple of things. If you do that after it's already there, any changes you made are gone. It goes back to the original version. All right, so for the Metro Alt, since we're there, let's just download it from GitHub. As I said, I think it's a slightly better version. If you've already got the other one, don't bother. So I want to go back one more, back to database schema. So this is Metrolog zip. It won't open. What we want to do is download it and save it. I'm going to open in folder. So I have this other one here. I've done this a couple of times, so I have 3 of them. Right-click on it, extract all, browse, and I'll leave this up for a minute, and then we'll get going on the other things. So you want to do local disk C, program files, Microsoft SQL Server. The last one on mine, some of you seem to have 2, which doesn't make sense. MSQL, data. And I'm going to do select folder. And that's the path you want. If you want to type it in, you can do that too. Program files, Microsoft SQL Server, msql13.sqlexpress/mssql/data. That's where you want to extract it from. might have to refresh that. So check bottom windows. Yeah, and then you have to tap.
Go down to M. Define. So under M, there should be Microsoft SQL Server Tools. Okay, so here's why. Actually, what you want to do is you want to go into virtual machines. Click on View. Go to full screen. Now go to Windows in the bottom.
The other one you need to download.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't see it on the stuff. I don't see it.
Right, so the other thing you have to do, so which one, the community assisted on C?
And the Metro Alt.
So the Metro Alt, so with this one, what you need to do is right click on databases and refresh.
Oh, okay.
With the Metro Alt, you need to right click on databases and attach. And then you need to go add. And then you need to find Metro Alt and then do OK. But that's after you've extracted it. You extract it. Go back and then right click on that. And go to down to the other end. Anyone else? Yeah. Don't you have them already, or did you have to move them back? This is just if you, when you shut it down, you didn't close this. You want to recover it? That's what the file that was not saved. Yeah. No, no, actually, is it already there? That actually should be okay. This is what so it should actually you moved it to that side. thing is when it's there. This is weird. You want me to add databases. Okay, so are we mostly set up? All right, I'm going to unzoom. This is real tiny over here. Why is it so tiny? We'll be using Community Assist. Maybe I will zoom it because it's just so tiny. I'm going to do a new query. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue with select. So there's still single table selects. We're not doing joins until next week. But what we're going to add are functions and some calculations. So again, I'll use Community Assist. And I'll execute that. Notice it changes over here. If you don't change the context, and this is a problem that everybody will encounter once in a while, and I do once in a while too. You run a query, it looks perfectly right, but everything is wrong. And the reason is you're in the wrong database, right? What you have to do is you have to set the context. Well, these are for Community Assist. When you go to Metro Alt, you have to change to use Metro Alt. Right, so those, if you don't have the right context, nothing will work. First thing I'm going to do is just show you some simple math. Just to, 5 times 2 divided by 3 modulus 4, or modulus 2. 2. When I run that, it actually, it gives me a number 1. I think that's because if I do any of these with a 2 point, so actually that's what we end up with. 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 3 goes in there 3 times with a modulus of 1 if you divide that by 2. Does that make sense? I just want to show you you can do math in there. It's a stupid calculator. I wouldn't use it as a calculator. But you can do other things that are more useful. For instance, let's say for the donation. So what I'm going to do real quickly, I'm just going to look at donations. So we have, these amounts. Let's say for every donation, 80% goes to the charity and 20% to maintaining it. Does that make sense? So I'm going to say, I'm going to do select donation amount. I'm going to break this just so, because I'm so big up here. I'm going to do donation amount times 80. And I'm going to alias this. We haven't done that. As charity, or as, well, I guess I'll call it as charity. And then I'm going to do a comma. And I'm going to say donation amount times, and that should be times 0.80, times 0.20 as maintenance. All right. And these are from donations. So if I run that, what you get is this is the donation amount. 126 goes to the charity and 31 goes to maintenance from that one. And it goes down for each one of these. This is the original amount. these are the amounts that go to the relative things. Notice that when I did as charity, as maintenance, it gave these headings, right? That's called aliasing. And you can do that anytime. If you don't do that, I'm just going to comment out these. I have to put that comma back in there, but I can comment that out. So I'm going to, that one doesn't have a heading now. If you do a calculation without aliasing it, you get no column name. You can alias any column. It doesn't have to be calculated. If you want to change like donation amount to just amount or something, you could just alias it as amount. The as keyword is optional. So I'm going to do the same thing without the as keyword. So I'm just going to remove the as. And it will behave exactly the same. So the only reason I would use the as is to be clear what you're doing, right? That you're aliasing the column. But you don't have to use it. Yeah. If you want the numbers, all right, so what you want to do is you want to go to Tools, Options, and you want to go to the text editor, open it, do all languages, and then click line numbers. You can also add word wrap, but you can break a line anywhere, so I don't need word wrap much. Questions on that? So that's just doing some simple math. There's a lot of times when you're pulling up data that you want to do some calculations. You can also multiply two fields together as long as they're numeric, right? Or add them. So you can do all of those. You can do almost any kind of math that you need to do in here. And the operators, if you want me to, I can go through them. But excuse me, they're pretty much the same as in any other programming language. Asterisk is for multiplication. Plus is a plus, minus is a minus, the division sign is a slash. Modulus, I don't know if you know that one, it's the percent sign when it's not in quotes at the end of a like, but a percent sign, which means it returns the remainder, right? If you think of third grade math, where you 10 divided by 3 is 3 with one remainder, the modulus returns the remainder, rather than a dot. Decimal. So, I mean, and the order of operations is the same, and you can use parentheses to control them. So it's pretty much the same as math in any kind of programming language. If you guys need more examples of that, we'll do a little bit more. So I'm going to show you some other functions. So actually, I'll comment this too. So this one, I'm going to do some date functions. These vary a lot in different database management systems. So the Oracle has different names for these functions, and they behave a little differently than SQL Server. MySQL date functions are a little bit different, right? So these are some of the things that all the ASCII standard says is that you have to have some functions to manipulate dates. Doesn't say what they have to be named or anything like that. So I'm going to show you some real easy ones. So in the donation, if we do go back just from the select star from donation, which is gone, right? If we look at that, so I'll just do that real quickly. we're going to use this mostly because there are dates here. There's the donation date and there's time, right? So what I'm going to do first is this. I'm going to do select year, donation date from donation. So, and we could do, if we want, let's add a distinct in front of that, just so we don't see all the years. We'll only see distinct years, and there's only 2, I think. But what do you think year does? Yeah, it extracts the year from the donation. So we've got 2 years, 2015 and 2016. All right, so it extracts the year from the date. We could do, I'm just going to, whoa, wrong thing. Let's copy this. I'm going to change this to month. And it gives you the, because I'm doing distinct. And again, so if I wanted to have this aliased, I could say month. And there's a reason I'm putting months in square brackets. Anybody know what that might be? Do the same up here. It's an alias, just like the ones before. We could put the as keyword in there. I'm giving it a name. The reason I'm putting it in square brackets is that month is a reserved function name, right? So if you're using a reserved word, or you're putting spaces in your alias, or you're putting illegal characters in your alias, you want to put it in square brackets, right? To say treat it literally, don't treat it as a function name. So if I run this again, you know, it actually says month at the top instead of no column name. And the distinct is you don't have to do, but it just keeps us from having a long list of this. There's also day, as you might expect. And there's a few more days. It doesn't tell you what month the day is in, actually, because we didn't do that as a separate one. For the time, you actually have to do it a little bit different. I'm going to do a different function. I am going to, let's do select donation date. And then I'm going to do date part. And let's do, I think I can do hour, donation date from donation. See if that works. So it returns the hour, which was a 10 for most of these. This is an artifact of how I copied it. The date in here in the insert was whatever the current date is, and current time. So the date is all the same, which is a problem. But that's, you know, it's extracted the hour. We can also do the same with a minute. You can also do this with day, year, and month. You can use date part for that too. I'm going to just do minute. Notice min or minute works. Maybe not. Let's do minute. And if we do that, it should give us the minutes. And again, they're all the same because of the way that these were populated, which is a bit of a problem, as I said. Okay. So does that make sense?
You can do the brackets as well. Right?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it has no column name, so I could put minute and not a curly brace. And again, it's the same if you do as, but if that makes it clearer. Then, you know, we have minute there. All right, and you can go down to millisecond, right? You can go into the thousands of seconds and things. So those are just extracting those things that are really useful. Do I have, what are the dates? Let's do, I run the months again. So we have 2, 4, 8, and 9. I don't know if this will work. I mean, because I don't know if 2 or 4. Let's do select star from donation, where donation, or where year, donation date equals 2015, and month donation date between and I should be able to say between 8 and 9. I do not know if this will return anything. Does it? Yes, it does. Probably most of it, actually. "45 rows. But just to show you the syntax, where if you wanted to bring it back in a particular year and between 2 months. Yeah.
Why don't we use semicolons?
It's just that SQL Server doesn't. It ignores them. It actually would not be a bad idea for a habit, because if you go into another environment, they would all have semicolons. But SQL Server pretty well ignores them, and so I get lazy in SQL Server. They don't really have any meaning in this environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that being said, if you go into Oracle or MySQL or something, you would have to use a semicolon. And sometimes I wish it did use a semicolon in the SQL Server environment, because it would make it clear where things stop and start. There's a keyword that SQL Server uses sometimes, which you have to use at times, called go. And go basically means complete the previous action before moving on to the next, which a semicolon could do that rather than writing the word go. All right, so those are years and months. There's a couple of other things we can do. I want to show you, if you want the current date, I'm just going to do select GetDate. Notice I don't have to do a from, because I'm just using the function. And if I do that, it returns the current date and time. All right, so whenever you need the current date and time, you can just do GetDate. Does that make sense? And let's do, I'm going to do select star from employee. I just want to see what's there. I think they have their hire dates. All right, so they have their hire date. I'm just going to manually do these because otherwise I'd have to teach you subqueries, which I don't want to do yet. What is the oldest date is 2002, 21, 2005. And the newest date is 2013. So it's 421. Oh, that's interesting. 2013. So what I want to do is say, what is the select date diff? And let's do it in, do we want to do it in year? This is the unit. And then I want the start date, which I think will be, I often get these backwards. And how I'll know if they're backwards is if I get a negative number as a result. So I'm going to do 2/21, 2005, and then you want the end date. So I'm going to do 2/13. All right, no, it's 2/21. It's 4/21, 2013. So what I'm doing is, what is the difference between these dates? And then I have to, actually I don't, because I'm putting the dates in literally, I don't have to say from employee. So I'm going to run that. Actually, let's do it as, I'm going to just say difference. So 8 years. Is that right? 5 and 13, that's about right. Now, if I did it in months, they would give me the difference in months. So 98 months difference. And you can do it in days as well, right? So the difference gives you the difference between two dates, but you have to tell it what the unit is that you're measuring. And it'll be month, day, or year for the most part. You could do it in minutes if it's a date time. Shall we do minute? Well, actually, I didn't load minutes, right? So it won't work for that. But we could do, so just I'm going to do a select a date add. This is another function. And let's do, so again, you have to give the units. So let's do it in days. And let's do the beginning date, get date. Actually, so there's one other thing I have to do before the get date. I have to say what I'm adding. So if we're adding days, how many days do you want to add? We have to tell it how many days.
13.
13? Now again, because I'm putting this pretty much literally in here, I don't have to do it from. But you could add to an existing date. One of the things that this is really useful for, you could do it with date difference too, is to see if somebody's, when something's going to be due. right? If you're doing a bill, when is it going to be due? Is it going in 90 days, 60 days? You can also use the date diff to see if it's more than 30 days from the current date that it was due. I mean, you could use those kinds of things. And you can do these with fields. So if we do that, that comes up to 2018-122, which would be right? Is it correct? So those are date and time functions are really valuable whenever you're doing any kind of summary kinds of things. You want to group things. I'm going to show you in a bit how to group things by year, group things by month. You can do a lot of different kinds of summary and evaluations for those. I'm looking to see, there's a couple of other little things here. And if we'll see where people are, as I said, if this takes all class, which it might, and try not to, but it may, I will try to give you time. I will, at different points, I may just make open labs. And if you don't need it, you don't have to come. That makes sense. So I'm going to do one more other thing. Suppose, let's do, I'm going to do from donation again. I keep doing these just to take a look at the data there. So let's say you wanted the money to look like money. Anybody have an idea of how you might do that?
Some currency function.
So, there isn't a currency function per se, but there is a. So let's do select donation date, and then I'm going to do format, donation amount. And then I am going to do, I don't know if there's a, see if I remember how to do this correctly. I'm going to do a $. I think I have to do this with a string. $, comma, $0.00, close that.
You're doing the number, not.
What?
You're doing the number.
You got hashtags.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Oh.
But I'm not sure that this is the, oh, it says it's, oh, from donation. That should work. Because what I'm doing there is a template. Right, it's a format template. And what the pound sign means, any number, there or not. The zeros are required. Doesn't mean that they're going to be zeros. It means those digits are required. So if I do that, and then let's do, because I'm putting a format on it, it'll return no. So I'm just going to do square brackets, donation. We could actually return it back to its name, square bracket. Okay, let's try that and see if it worked. No, it didn't work.
We have a pound sign for the first one, then you need a $sign right after the first.
Oh. I thought I did that at one time. Let's try that again. Yes, that worked. I don't know how you align them, actually. Align right.
Maybe some like a escape tab or something.
Possibly. I could look. But anyway, there is a format, right? Let's do one other thing. Let's look into contact. We'll do one more format. So I'm going to do select star. It's from just contact. Okay. So what's in here are a bunch of phone numbers. So I'm going to try to format. Now, these are not numbers. One of the things about the format function is it only works on numbers. These are not stored as numbers. These are stored as characters. If you look over here in the tables, contact, columns, and you look at the contact number, it's in varchar. I don't store phone numbers as numbers usually. So the format will not work on this. There's two ways we could do this, and I'm going to show you. I just want to put the parentheses in the dash in there. There's two ways we could do this. I'm going to do it the hard way first, and then the easier way. So if I want to take the contact number, so I'm going to do basically what I'm going to do is select is it substring? It's not, yeah, it is substring. And I want to, the expression is the contact number. I'm having trouble typing. And actually, before I do this, I want to do select single quote parenthesis, single quote plus. So, and then I want to start at 0 and go 3 characters. And that needs to be contact. All right. And then I'm going to do plus, and I'm going to close the parentheses. And then I'm going to do plus, and I'm going to do substring contact. Does anybody know what I'm doing?
You're doing parentheses with the area code.
Right, I'm putting the parentheses around the area code. Then I'm just going to do substring contact number. I'm going to start at character 4 and go to character, actually just how many characters I'm going. And then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to put in a literal dash. And then another substring contact number. This is the hard way, as I said. So we would start at 3, 4. We start at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go 4. The second number here is not where the character you started. It's how many. And then I'm going to say from contact. And I could put, I'm just going to put phone here. Let's see if it works. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I did it right. So this is the hard way, where you just concatenate. Remember, if you ever done that in another language, you just concatenate things in. So I'm just literally concatenating into parentheses. Right, that's what the plus is there. The plus concatenates if it's a character type. Substring, the substring takes the contact number, and it's the first one starts at the 0 character. And then actually, because it's a 0 character, we're missing that. I forgot. Let's do 1. Because I'm missing the first character, right? There we go. I always forget. SQL does not start arrays at 0, which is bizarre. Starts them at 1.
Why is there plus sign at the end of 35 and at the beginning?
So this plus sign, I was just breaking the line. Notice there's a plus sign here, and it needs to have another plus on this side, right, of that. To concatenate it in.
But at the next line.
Yeah, I just broke the line to keep it on screen. Line breaks don't matter. I mean, it could easily go like that, you know, or I could do this plus at the end. As long as there's a plus on either side of that. The line breaks don't matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'm not looking at the line.
Oh, I got two lines. I got two pluses. Thank you. You're right. I had two pluses.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know if that was.
No, that wasn't required. It just sort of ignored it, which is nice.
Yeah.
No, that's just me.
Just check.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so here's another way to do it. I said that it will only work if it's a number. So one of the things that we can do here is we could cast this to, we could still use format. So I'm going to do select, I'll do donation, actually we want contact. Select contact number. So I'm going to just do it as it was. And then I'm also going to do, this is going to be a little bit weird. Maybe you'll think the other one was easier. I don't know. I'm going to format cast contact number as big int. You know why I'm doing it as big int? This is weird, but some of the phone numbers go beyond the length of the int. So I'm going to cast the contact number as a big int, and then I'm formatting that with this, or with parentheses, single quotes, parentheses. Probably these are required, so I'm going to do zeros instead of pound signs. Oops, 000 dash 1 2 keep hitting the, and I'll close that, and then I'll close the function. So we have a function inside of a function, and then I'm going to say from contact. That should clear those up. Did I spell contact right? Wrong, yes. So we're going to format the phone number, but we cast it to a number first, from a character type to a number. It'll throw all sorts of errors if it can't cast it, right? But phone numbers, the way they're entered, they could be just ints. The reason I don't store phone numbers as ints is that you're never really going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide them. And sometimes there are number combinations. It actually happens more with zip codes where they start with 0. If they start with 0, that'll be stripped off if you do a number type. Let's see if this works. I'm going to break that just for readability again. See, it has exactly the same effect as the other. I don't know which one we think is easier, the concatenation or the second one. Okay. Now, why would you ever bother doing this? The only reason you would ever bother doing this is if you're outputting things as a report, right, for other people to consume. That's when you want to make it pretty. Typically, though, if you're doing a report, you probably throw it to some reporting software. And then you could format it there, which makes more sense in some ways. But you can do it. it is sometimes that the output, the text output here becomes a report. It's not that common. I mean, it depends on how formal it is. But if you need it to look good, you can format things to make them look better. Questions on those? So those are the formats. Now I'm just going to do a few more things. This is kind of a big step up from the first assignment. They're all just selects, but they all have all these little functions in it. It's a bit more complex. It's also more fun, I hope. Can do more things. So I'm going to start showing some aggregate functions. Does anybody know what I mean by aggregate? All of these up above here and going up to the top they're date functions, and they're also scalar functions. That's a word you probably haven't heard. Is it a K? No, I think it's a C. It looks wrong, but I think that's right. Scalar functions operate line by line, right? They operate on a single line. Aggregate functions operate across multiple rows in a database. All right, so here's an example, an easy one. I'm going to do select sum donation amount. We'll alias it as total from donation. So if I run that, we get that total is 55,766. Right? So it operates across rows. It basically just took all of the rows and gave us the total. You can also do, I'm just going to do a whole bunch of different ones here. You can do the average. Actually, it's just AVG. The average is over 1,000. That's pretty good. I'm going to paste it again, and we'll do the count. That'll just return the number of them. So we have 48. And there's also max. So this will return the biggest function, the biggest donation. And we can do the min. So these are the most common aggregate functions, just sum, average, count, max, min. There are some others. Most of the others have to do with stats. There's like variant and, what is it? Deviation, average deviation, things like that. So, but these are the main ones. Okay, so I'm going to show just a couple of other little things with these, and then we'll do just a couple. There's only a little bit more, so we might have about an hour to work. Are these making sense so far? No? I will post all this too within a few minutes. So these are just functions. They're built in. Actually, these functions are pretty much the same in any database system, the basic aggregates here. Let's say, though, we wanted to do a sum of all the donations per year. So let's say I did a select year donation. So let's donation date. And I'll put year there. And then we'll do like some donation amount. From donation. So this doesn't show any errors here, but it will throw an error when I run it. Does anybody know why? I mean, it says what the donation is, but that probably won't make sense to you. What's going on that is a problem? Well, basically, year is a scalar function. It operates row by row, right? Whereas sum is an aggregate function. It operates on groups of rows. So there's sort of a contradiction there, right? The two different processes that can't be, they're incompatible, but you can make them compatible by adding another thing. I'm going to group by, and I'm going to group by the year donation date, by the scalar. Generally, you have to group by everything that isn't a part of the aggregate function. I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. So if I do this now, it will give me the year, and it'll give me the total for the year, right? And I could use the function if I want to make these into dollars and stuff. You could use additional. You could put a function around the sum, right? You could put the format around the sum. That makes sense. You can embed functions inside of functions until you go insane doing it. I think you can go up to 255 levels of embedding. So I would just to show an example, if I were to do that, you don't have to do this, but just real quickly, I'll do not function, format. And then just the dollar sign. So if I run that, what I get that's different is I'll just get the dollar signs on there. So you can, as I said, you can have functions inside of functions inside of functions. Okay, so that's a year. I'm going to make a slightly different one. So I'm going to make a couple of these actually, just to show you. These are, so I'm going to add a month donation date. And then I'll do the month square brackets, comma. So basically it's the same thing, but we've added month. But I need to, if I do that, I have to put a comment in the group by and do the month donation date. And it's sad, but you can't use the alias. It needs the actual expression to do this. So now it gives you the month. You're interested in 2/16 at the top and 2/15 at the bottom. You could change that by order by. So I'm going to order by year. And I'll order second order by month. Do I need to do the order by after? I might have to. Okay. So then it puts the 2/15 first, and then the 2/16. Does that make sense? I'm going to do one other. Well, actually, I think I'll leave the other one. That's probably good enough. You have to group by to do this. It's an absolute rule, actually. You have to group by everything that isn't part of the aggregate function. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. I'm going to do one other thing here because I think it's part of the assignment, and then two other little things that will be done. You guys can always stop me if these don't make sense. Just stop me and ask. Yeah.
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Down this way.
Or up there? Just from like lines 49 to down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am videotaping this, and I will post the code. So there's a chance to review. Also, the book, I forget which chapter it is. I really want to get a copy of that book again if you have it. But I heard it wasn't in the bookstore. Is that true? What? They were ordering it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'd ordered it. I'm sure I ordered it. Okay. I may go get a copy too. I had a copy. I gave it away. Never came back. Yes. If you don't have to have financial aid pay for it, it's much cheaper on Amazon. Do you have it then? Yeah. All right. So notice how the month, I'm going to show you two ways to do this. One of them, I want to change the month to the name instead of the number. This one is probably the more complicated one, but it's one I asked for. So I'm going to do the same, sort of the same thing. I'm going to do select year, donation date. And I'll alias it as year. Now the month, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do case. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. So case month donation date. Although I don't know that I need to do. Let me see if I do that. I'm trying to remember the next keyword. Case equals month. I'm going to go to my blog real quick. I never use these cases, but I wanted to show you that you could. So I'm going to go to Conger, not Conger Prep. This one I want ITC, blogspot.com. Case, probably won't go to the right place. Nope. I should have gone to the IT 222. Subqueries isn't it. These are assignments. That's not what I want. So this is 2018. Let's go to 2017. This is January. Functions. Did I do a case then? Oh, come on. I just need the next word. I don't think it's case equal. All right, here's the other thing you can do. When you're drawing a blank, you can just do T-SQL case win. There it is, win min, win max, or just win. Case win. Okay. You think that would be easy enough to remember? I think I can just do win 8 and then the other word. Then so back here. Win 8. Then what is so 8 is October? No, 10 is October. 8 is September, right? August. You can tell how good I'm doing here. So and this should have single quotes. When I'm only doing the ones that are there, but you could do all 12 months. Okay. And then I'm going to do end case, I believe, and I'm going to alias it as month. All of this is for defining one field. And I'm going to do a comma. So this is just for the donation date, and then I'll do donate. I think it's just end. Donation amount. Okay, and I will do we'll do the sum donation amount. I won't do the format. Actually, let's don't do the sum. We could do that. It just makes it more complicated. Let's just do donation amount from donation. All right. Let's see if this works. So we have all the Augusts. When we get down, there's September, and there's February, and there's April. So it did work. It substituted the name of the month. So a case, have you ever done a case, select case in a programming language? It's almost exactly the same structure. So you have a case, and you give it a condition that you're changing on. So we're saying that the case is based on the donation date, the month donation date, which returns an integer. So if that integer is 1, then I mean 8, it's August. I mean, if you wanted to go through and do all 12 months, you could do that, right? Our data thing isn't very deep, and I was trying to save some typing, but you could easily go through all 12 months. This case structure is something that's kind of rare, which is why I wasn't remembering exactly how to do it, because I haven't done it since last year at this time. but it can be useful for some things, right? It allows you to change the what value you return based on that. The other thing that I want to do, though, is I'm going to do a similar kind of thing, but a little with a different function. And I don't remember. So this again is if I can remember the function. So I'm going to do select month. And actually, let's select year. Donation date. And I'll just do year. And let's see if I can get the function off the top of my head. Date name. I think once I do that, actually, I'm curious. Let's just do the date name donation date first. I think I have to put something more in that, though. From donation. So let's see what the arguments are for donation date. You need the time interval, so it needs month. All right, so if I do the date name there and I run this, it has, oh, and I didn't do the donation amount, so let's do month. And then I'll just do donation amount too. All right, so the date name has the same effect as the case for this. You know, there are other uses for case, but does that make sense? The date name will return the name of the month. I'm curious if we did it as day. I'm going to change it back to month. But I'm going to change it to day to see what happens if I use that. Does it give me the day of the week? No, just gives me errors. What? So why is everything invalid there? So it doesn't have, there is a day of the week function actually too. What? Why am I getting, what? Oh, I forgot. Yes, let's try day again. It's because I didn't copy that last line. Good eye. No. It didn't do it. So day doesn't work, only month works. As I said, I believe there is a day of the week function that you can use too. All right, one last thing, which is, again, this took a little longer than I meant. At the very end of the assignment, there's some queries you can do of the structure. One of the things about a relational database is that all of the information is in tables, including the information about information. So if I wanted to know what databases, this is actually literally what let's do select, and I'm going to do name from sys.databases. So this is actually literally the one in the assignment. And what it does is it returns the name of all the databases on this server. Right, that's useful to know. If I did star here, you get a lot of information that you might not, yeah, thanks. You get a lot of information that you might not want. So you get the name, You get the database ID. If there's a source one, you get the owner SID. And if you go across, there it is, you get all sorts of different flags and just a lot of different information, most of which you don't need. But the database needs it, right? All of that's available to you for each of those databases things. But again, the easiest thing, if you just want to know what databases are on there, that will give you the databases. You can also do like select, I'll do name again, from sys.tables. This is more context sensitive, so this only returns the tables in the current database. Right, so it gave us all the tables in the current database. This is really useful, these kinds of things, when you're doing it from the command line. Right, and you need to know, you don't have that graphical thing to the side showing you what's what. And I could also do, although, well, I'd have to do a join. Let's wait until we do joins to do that. There are literally hundreds of these. I'm going to show you, but you don't have to worry too much about it. So I'm going to do system tables. Actually, it's not. So let's do, I think they might be under views, actually. So if I come down here to views, and I look at system views, you can see that there are a lot of these. So for anything you really want to look at, these are all different views. They're all views based on the structure, the meta information about the database. There are a lot of them. Then so you can return, basically the different things that there are. I also wanted to show you, and then this is the last thing, and then I'll post this. So let's see if I can get out of all of these. So those are the system views. There are also, if you go down to functions, so actually it's under programmability, functions, and under the functions there's system functions. So here they're grouped like aggregate functions, configuration, cursor functions, date and time functions, math functions, metadata functions, other functions, hierarchy function, row sets function, security functions, string functions, statistical functions, text and image functions. And if you open any one of these, you'll get a whole bunch of different functions, right? So if you want to know every function that's built into the system, date and time functions, is, listed here. So this is under programmability, functions, system functions. Mathematical functions, there's a lot of those. Quite a few anyway. So these are all the built-in functions that you can get. String functions, there's a lot of those too. And we will write our own functions later. So you can add to them. So I think it gives you everything you need to do for the second assignment. And I'm going to post it right now. So it'll be available for you to look at. And then you have like a half hour. We're finishing this up. In some ways, I'd like to reverse this so that I give you more time on Wednesday. But let's see where you are when we come back. Actually, we won't be here. Today is Tuesday, right? So we'll be fine. So on Tuesday, I'll see where you guys are on Tuesday. And if you need more time, I'll give you some more time on this.
Which database do you
Use
use?
MetroAlt always use MetroAlt for the assignments, and Community Assist is for the demos. Does that make sense? And again, I only need the SQL. I don't need the result unless I specifically asked for it, and I don't think I did. I might have for some or count where there's only one number, but I don't remember asking for it. Okay, so I'm going to kill the video. Let me first kill the Zoom.